that happens right after he's taken off. This year's play for International Diversity Day was being put on in honor of Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. It was a reenactment of the Ramayana, the story of Rama and Sita, a beautiful story about the power of love and forgiveness. Sarah's mother had first told her the story of Rama and Sita when she was little. When her class was brainstorming ideas for this year's IB Diwali event, Sarah had been the one to shyly suggest the story. The idea caught fire, and soon she found herself trying to find a way out of playing Sita. She certainly wasn't an actress. Her skill was in art, so she was happy to work on the set and costume design instead. The last bell rang, jerking Sarah out of her thoughts, and she headed to the auditorium for final dress rehearsals. On the way there, she spotted Kyle lounging near the doors to the auditorium, obviously waiting for her, and she ducked into a nearby classroom fuming. She didn't want to talk to him or hear any more of his tired excuses, so she took the long way to the auditorium instead. She'd finished the set work on her own. She didn't need him. Inside, the auditorium was abuzz with activity as final touches were made to the set, and actors milled around, rehearsing lines and joking about breaking legs for good luck. Sarah made her way to the crowd on the far side. "Nice work, Sarah," someone called out. Her heart pounded with pride as she glanced at the set she'd helped construct: the King's Palace, the Forest of Exile, the tower where Sita was imprisoned, all of it. She'd even designed the costume for the fearsome demon king who kidnapped Sita. Another boy echoed the sentiment, and Sarah flushed, mumbling her thanks. She wasn't used to so much tension. "Hey, Mia," she said to the sophomore who was playing the role of Sita. "You need help with makeup?" "Sure," Mia said, smiling, as she tugged on the top half of the vibrant red and green sari. After deftly finishing Mia's makeup, complete with the red bindi in the middle of her forehead, Sarah had an idea. "Give me your hand," she told Mia, pulling out a jar from her bag. Her mother wouldn't even notice that she'd borrowed some of her henna powder. "I want to try something." She glanced at Mia. "It's like a temporary tattoo, an old tradition. I'm pretty sure Sita in the stories had it on her hands. It can last a couple of weeks, I think. You cool?" "Yeah, sounds awesome. Go for it." Mia's eyes were wide with excitement as Sarah dipped a thin paintbrush into a greenish paste and started drawing intricate swirls on the backs of Mia's hands. Sarah's fingers moved fluidly, and she didn't stop, giving in to the bizarre feeling that she'd done this before. Ever since seeing the girl's hands in the mirror, she'd felt compelled to reconstruct the design, and Mia was a willing guinea pig. Vines curled in and out with a life of their own as her vision blurred, and Sarah paused for a moment, wiping sweat from her eyes. She felt lightheaded and squeezed her eyes shut, white spots dancing behind her eyelids. When she looked back at her handiwork, to her horror, the vines were still moving and now coiling toward her own fingers. They slid up, winding their way across her knuckles, up her wrists, and into her palms in a complex pattern. For a second, Sarah thought she was dreaming, but she could clearly hear the conversation around her like she was in some kind of waking dream. And still the vines moved, concentric circles forming in her palm and extending to the tip of each finger, as though painted by an invisible brush. "Ouch, you're hurting me," Mia cried. Mia's voice was faint as tiny thorns flowered around each of Sarah's scars and flowed to the middle of her wrists, creating a bow of sharp points bending outward like teeth. Sarah could feel the piercing tips of them digging into her skin. She held Mia's fingers in a white-knuckled death grip. They were her lifeline, her only tether to the real world. If she let go, she would be lost. Sarah felt as if she were flowing out of her body, called away by some unseen presence. The boy in the Ravana costume that she'd designed rushed toward her, grinning and leering, his 10-headed mouth full of red, pointy fangs. She'd never felt such fear in all her life. The fear of some long-forgotten memory now awakened. The demon's arms reached out. Sarah tumbled backward into the abyss of her vision. Ravana had stolen her away, imprisoning her in a castle that no one but he could reach. His demon breath was foul, the stench of him decaying everything around them. Her prison was in a desolate wasteland. "Come for me, Rama," she cried, but her cries went unheard. No one could hear her where she'd been hidden. Still she cried, pleading for her love to rescue her. But then Ravana appeared in front of her, his ferocious head snarling, his terrible teeth gnashing. "Forget Rama, you are mine now for all eternity." Sarah couldn't stop screaming.